Welcome to the Mind Compass, your weekly dose of mindset growth for stress management, anxiety relief, and personal development. Whata?
And g'day, listeners.
I'm Janet.
And I'm Michael.
And today we're jumping into one of the most important skills you can develop in this fast-moving, unpredictable world: adaptability.
In a world where change is constant and uncertain is the norm, adaptability has certainly become more than resilience. It's a survival skill, and even more, it's your competitive edge. And in this episode, here are 3 key things that you'll learn.
Why adaptability is the new superpower in both your work and personal life. 2, the neuroscience of how brains resist change and how we can override this powerful programming. And 3 amazing mindset shifts and techniques that'll help you stay flexible, calm, and most importantly, future ready. So let's jump in.
So we've talked about this many times before, but change is the only constant. But how do you respond to it? Well, that's your real power. The most successful people today aren't necessarily the smartest or the strongest. They're the most adaptable. And that's not just a motivational catchphrase, right? It's backed by history, by science, and by countless real-life examples. Charles Darwin put it this way: it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change.
Like cockroaches.
Yes, indeed, like cockroaches. Resilience will get you through the storm, but adaptability, that's what helps you use the storm's winds to propel you forward.
But here's the challenge, even for cockroaches. If adaptability is so vital, why do most of us resist change so fiercely? The answer lies in our brains. The amygdala, the part of your brain which is wired for survival, craves predictability. Change often feels like danger. So our first instinct is fear, overwhelm, or even withdrawal. It's not weakness, it's actually biology.
Danger, Will Robinson.
The empowering truth, though, is that our brains, our fantastic brains, are neuroplastic. We can literally rewire them to embrace change. Or as I like to say, your mind is your best tool, but only when you update its software. The upgrade we're talking about here today is the adaptability mindset.
So I hear you ask, how do we build it? Well, let's explore 3 powerful shifts. The first is curiosity over control. Most of us cling to control when uncertainty strikes, but control is largely an illusion. The tighter we hold on, the more frustrated we become. Curiosity, on the other hand, opens the door to new possibilities. And I love that because an old boss of mine used to always say, just be curious about things. So ask yourself, what's the opportunity here? What could this change make possible?
Take Netflix as a really good example. They started out mailing DVDs. For those of you in the States, do you remember that? Red envelopes turning up in your mailbox? At the time, it was a clever workaround to avoid late fees at the video store, like poor old Blockbuster. But if Netflix had clung to that model, they'd just be another footnote in business history.
Like Blockbuster. So instead, they leaned into curiosity and kept asking the right question. How do people really want to watch content? And they noticed the frustration people felt having to wait for DVDs, and they asked, what if the experience could be instant? And that question led to streaming. And streaming didn't just disrupt Blockbuster. It completely rewired how the entire world consumes entertainment.
But they didn't stop there. Once again, they stayed curious. They realised people weren't just hungry for watching shows. They wanted fresh, original content tailored to them. So Netflix became not just a distributor, but a creator. Today, they're not mailing DVDs. They're producing award-winning series, films, and documentaries which are watched by hundreds of millions of people worldwide.
Now let's contrast that with the old Blockbuster. Blockbuster had everything. They had brand recognition, physical stores everywhere, and a loyal customer base. But they clung to control, and they were committed to late fees in their store model. And they thought the old way was safe. And when the storm of change hit, they were too rigid to pivot. And that's the difference. curiosity versus control. Netflix embraced the question, what's next? Blockbuster clung to the answer, well, this is how it's always been done. And one is now a global giant, while the other is just a trivia night punchline.
The second shift is progress over perfection. Change doesn't wait for perfect conditions, but so many of us do. We hesitate, waiting for the stars to align, when really, progress comes from taking imperfect action and learning as you go. Elon Musk once said failure is an option here. If things aren't failing, you're not innovating enough. You don't have to be launching rockets for that lesson to apply. Whether it's trying a new idea at work, shifting up or shaking up your fitness routine, or experimenting with a side project, stop waiting for the perfect. Start, stumble, learn, and adapt. That's progress over perfection.
It sure is. And if we were waiting for perfection, so many things wouldn't have been built. And the third shift is response over reaction. Change can trigger strong emotions, and our instinct is often to react, panic, lash out, and retreat. But adaptability is born in the pause between the stimulus and the response. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response.
That space is where adaptability lives, and you can train yourself to access it more often through breathwork, journaling, mindfulness, and even something as simple as pausing before responding to that stressful email.
Or reacting.
Haven't we all done that?
Mm-hmm.
These little practices give you the space to choose intention over that very destructive one, impulse.
Carol Dweck, the author of Mindset, put it beautifully. Becoming is better than being. Adaptability is about becoming, constantly evolving and constantly learning. So how do we practice adaptability in real life? Well, here are some techniques that we can give you.
Reframe setbacks as setups. Instead of thinking, this is the end, try asking, what could this be the beginning of? Take, for example, J.K. Rowling's rejections. They weren't an end. They were the setup for Harry Potter to change the literary world.
And didn't it just? Next up, we talked about journaling before, but journaling's great to clarify what's within your control. And when life feels overwhelming, just write down 2 lists. One for what you can control and one for what you can't. And then you only focus on the first. That clarity is so powerful.
And then anchor yourself with rituals. In the middle of uncertainty, rituals become stability points. Morning resets, gratitude practices, evening reflections. They keep you grounded while the world around you shifts. And finally, try adaptability sprints. These are small, deliberate experiments to build your flexibility muscle. Drive a different way to work. Try a new style of exercise. Switch off your phone for an evening. These micro changes train your brain to stay comfortable and get comfortable with the unfamiliar. And the unfamiliar is where the magic lies.
Oh, hell yeah, it is. Angela Duckworth, the author of the book Grit, summed it up well. Grit is passion and perseverance for long-term goals, but it thrives when paired with adaptability. Grit gives you endurance, adaptability gives you agility, and together they are both unstoppable. So here's the question. What's one change that you've been resisting?
Maybe it's a shift at work, a relationship change, or even just a new technology that feels overwhelming. What would happen if instead of resisting, you thought about it with curiosity, focused on progress over that all-important perfection, and you choose a thoughtful response, not a reaction?
Adaptability isn't about being fearless. It's about being fluid. Because you can't control every storm, can you? But you can learn to sail with shifting winds. And the real question is, will you let change break you, or will you let it build you?
Before we close today, here's your challenge. Write down one change that you can make in your life right now. Next to it, write the opportunity that if you start that change, what opportunity it might hold, even if it feels small and especially if it feels uncomfortable.
It's even best if it feels uncomfortable.
Then take one small action this week that leads towards that change.
You've been listening to The Mind Compass, where your mindset becomes your map to flexibility, resilience, adaptability, and growth. If today's episode sparks something in you, then please share it with a friend who's navigating change, or subscribe, leave us a review, and let's keep building this community of adaptable, future-ready humans.
Love and blessings.
Until next time, see ya.